So let me first introduce through the job work and other provisions, and then we can have Q&A. Right. So mostly if you'll see, job work means your someone else is working on your goods, right? So before GST in excise regime, the job work was defined in a very inclusive manner. Inclusive manner means it includes any conditioning, reconditioning, processing, reworking, rewinding. The entire process name was given. But when the GST came, this section 2, subsection 68 of the CGST Act defined job work in a very exclusive manner. It said any treatment or process undertaken by a person on goods belonging to another registered person. So before we get into any definition, friends, just try to understand each and every word is conveying a separate meaning. We need to understand why the definition is worded in such a way. Like again, I'll read any treatment or process, right? So if the goods is belonging to a registered person, right, which is given for treatment or processing to a person, then this is called as job work. So one important thing is treatment or process. Process can be any process, right? Second is undertaken by a person. Here they are not using the word registered person. They are using the word person. It means job worker need not be registered under GST. Right. Second is goods. So you cannot have job work of a service. For becoming a job work, the treatment or process should be carried on a goods, not on service. Right. And then next is goods belonging to registered person. It means the person or the principal should be registered under GST. So we can infer that if there are two persons, both are unregistered, if any treatment or process is carried on, then that treatment or process will not be job work under section 268 of the CGST Act. Right. So to have a job work, the process or treatment by a person, registered or unregistered, on any goods that should belong to a registered person only, right? And that registered person whose goods are treated or processed is principal, right? And the person who is treating the goods is job worker, right? So registered person or principal may send input or capital goods under intimation without payment of tax to a job worker for job work, right? So a principal can send input or capital goods, right? So we all know what is input and capital goods. That is defined under your CGST Act, right? So it is not saying input service, it is only saying input or capital goods, right? Now it is important to understand, friends, that when you send goods for job work, you cannot leave the goods till eternity, because any process will take certain time to complete, right? And post that time, the goods are to be returned to the principal. So for input, the material should come back within 1 year from the date of sending or date of delivery challan. If it is capital goods, maximum time is 3 years, right? Mold, dies, jigs, fixture or tools are exception to this condition. It means when the principal is giving mold, dies, jigs or fixture or tools for job work, then that mold, dies, jigs or fixture or tools need not come back within 1 year or 3 years. It means actually the job work is not being carried on any mold, dies, jigs or fixture or tools. It is a mechanism through which the job work is getting done. So I'll give you one example. There's a plastic manufacturing company, right? After manufacturing, he wants to insert a hole in the plastic item. For that, the principal is supplying mold or jigs or fixture or any tool, right? So that tool or jigs, mold, dies will be installed at the premises of job worker, and will be used for completion of the process or treatment. This mold dies need not come back within 1 year or 3 year, because it is logical that whenever someone will supply these items, this item will remain at the job worker premise only, right? Then after completion of job work, the principal can get the goods back to his own premise or supply to the customer from job worker place also, right? So we'll, after this small introduction, we'll see the practical modalities of all these provisions, right? Section 143 of the CGST Act covers your job work. So it says, if you are supplying any goods to your customer from a job worker premises, then that and the job worker is not separately registered under GST, then job worker premises will be added as additional place of business in the principal's registration, GST registration. So if the principal has to supply certain goods or process goods or capital goods from job worker premises to any customer, right, then if the job worker is registered, no separate requirement is there. If the job worker is not registered, then the place of business where the job worker is treating or processing the material, that place will be added in the GST registration certificate as additional place of business in the principal's registration. Scrap. So if there is in the process, if there is a waste and scrap generated, like if you give aluminum rods to your job worker and they are cutting and turning it, right? So they are making that turning and all. So the coils will be there, the leftover will be there, the items will be left out, aluminum particles, right? So either the job worker can sell it or the principal can take it back. So if the job worker is registered, right? So it can be supplied by job worker directly from the place of business on payment of tax, right? So tax payment will be done by job worker. If the job worker is unregistered, then principal has to pay the tax on this waste and scrap. So any waste and scrap sold will be treated based on registration of the job worker. It also has to be seen in many times what happens is, if you send 10 kg of material, you will say 1% will be tolerable limit or your process loss. So if there is a process improvement at the job worker premises and out of that 1% he is saving 0.2%, right, or there is a scrap generated in that case, then the principal will say, I do not want to recognize this scrap in my books. Job worker can treat as his own scrap. So in that case, if job worker is registered, job worker will sell the scrap and then charge GST from customer or pay GST to government based on that scrap or waste, right? We'll see in detail for this also. So if you'll see, your input and capital good belonging to principal will be sent to the job worker and job worker will send it back to the principal, right? Second is, so input will come to the principal and then it will be sent to the job worker, right? Same way capital, and then principal will send it back to the job worker and job worker will send. So there can be two scenarios, friends, understand, and we all are in a very competitive stage where when the material is purchased, the principal will not every time bring the material to his factory and then prepare a challan and send it to job worker for processing. Unnecessary, principal does not want to lose the time plus the transportation cost. So the principal can say to the supplier that supply the material directly to job worker and invoice to me, right? So scenario 1 is that part where inputs and capital goods are directly sent to job worker. Scenario 2 where your material is coming to your principal is again then sending the material back to your job worker, right? If the principal is sending the material from the job worker premises to the customer, then additional place of business of the principal will be notified. right? If the principal is sending the material first to the principal's any place, right, and then it is going to job worker, again it is coming back to principal, and send it to customer. So you can have any, if you don't want to get yourself registered, then you can bring the material back and then you can, right. So if you'll see, your first box has registered taxable person or principal, right? Just a second, hold on. Let me stop this slide. Right. So the registered person will send the input, semi-finished or capital goods to a person, right? So now the bigger question is, when the principal will send the input or capital goods, who will take the input credit of that input or capital goods, right? So there are two ways to it. One is, or the 99% cases people are following this, that the entire input credit will be availed by the person whose goods are there. So that is principal, right? He will avail the input credit and he will send the material to job work on delivery challan, right? Option 1. Option 2 is, the principal will bill the entire material to job worker with GST, and then job worker will return the material with value addition, and they will bill the entire material plus value addition back to principal. This is option 1, right? Option 2. Option 1 is the best option. Principal will take the credit and job worker will only charge for processing charges, right? And they will ask for GST, whatever rate it is notified. So we'll go on to the rate as well. So if you can see, send the material, input or capital goods, right, to job worker. Job worker will further process it and return to the principal within 1 year or 3 years, right? Now you come to it, that on the left hand side, black box, right? See the table. If the goods are not returned or not supplied, this is called a deemed supply, right? This is called a section 143 deemed supply. What if the material or the process is not complete within 1 year or 3 years? For in case of input it is 1 year, in case of capital goods it is 3 years, right? So if the process is not complete, right, if the goods are supplied by principal, then the day on which the principal send the material to job worker, from that day GST will be paid with 18% interest. So I'll take an example, that on 1st of September 2019 I sent 100 pieces of cardboard boxes to job worker for processing. The cost of cardboard box was 1 lakh rupees. GST rate is 12%. So I did not charge any GST from the job worker and I supplied the material. Today is 18th of October, so that still the material is not returned. So now principal, what he has to do is, he has to pay 12,000 GST with 18% interest, and he will raise an invoice on the job worker. And he will pay 12,000 GST plus 18% interest for 1 year 18 days, because the interest will be applicable from day 1, right? And this transaction will be called a deemed supply, means this will be treated as supply, though it is not actually a supply. If the material is directly sent to the job worker by the supplier, so principal has instructed the supplier to send the material directly to the job worker, so that day it was received by the job worker. So the difference is there. If the principal is sending, the day it was sent by the principal. If the third party is sending, the day it is received by the job worker. From that day, GST plus 18% will be charged. Right. So now there can be a scenario, friends, that before GST came, the material was already lying with the job worker, right? So scenario, left hand side, the scenario is after GST you have sent the material. So this already left hand side we have discussed, deemed supply, right? Right hand side, if you'll see, the government is saying that your material is already lying with a job worker and GST has come. So cutoff date is 1st July. So government is saying when this GST came, you have to bring entire material within 6 months or 2 more months extended. If you are not bringing the entire material within this period, it will be treated as deemed supply, right? And tax will be recovered from the principal and ITC claimed earlier will be reversed. So this was your, when GST came, this was your transitional provision. Transitional provision means there were certain activity for which a separate notification or a separate section was there in CGST Act which dealt with this kind of scenarios, right? So there were these scenarios which was already covered under GST. So left hand side we have already seen that after GST, if the material is not received within 1 year or 3 years, what will happen? But before GST, the entire material was to be received back within 6 months, 31st December 2017. If that material is not coming back within this due deadline or extended deadline, then the principal has to pay the tax and it will be treated as deemed supply, right? Now friends, each and every job work is not taxable at 18%. So government has notified nature of job work and also rate of GST. So when I say rate of GST, either it will be 3% IGST or 1.5% CGST, 1.5% SGST or UTGST, whatever applicable. So any job work relating to diamond, like on Friday we spoke, any job work related to diamonds, so like polishing, cutting or anything process done on diamonds will be taxed at 3% only, right? You cannot have a job work of 18% on diamond because in that case you will have accumulation of input credit. So government has said okay, the rate of job work is 3% on diamond. Next is 5%. So on these items there will be 5% of job work. Number one, printing of newspaper. So in case of newspaper printing, job work rate is 5%. Textile and textile product like your ready-made suits or any suits or textile product or your cloth or anything dyeing, printing, finishing or any activity carried on textile product under chapter 50 to 63, almost all textile will fall under this chapter. Job work rate is 5%, right? Printing of books, and the books is taxable at 5% or nil, then job work rate is 5%. Then processing of hide, skin and leather processing 5%, right? Manufacturing of leather goods or footwear is 5%. Rate of GST on footwear up to 500 rupees is 5%, over 500 rupees is 12%, right? Food and food product 5%, handicraft goods 5%, tailoring services 5%, GST for job work. So job worker will raise the job work invoice or processing invoice at the rate of 5% for these kind of activities, not 12%. Manufacturing of umbrella 12%. Printing of goods where the goods are taxable at 12%, job work rate is 12%. If the goods are taxable at nil rate or 5%, then job work rate is 5%. Bus bodybuilding. So there is a separate notification which said bus bodybuilding will be 18%, right? Number two, you have to understand very carefully. Manufacturing services on physical inputs is 18%, right? So there is a separate clarification or circular issued on this manufacturing services. Because what happened is when this rate came, each and every activity job worker started charging 18%. So they said if your goods are not falling under 3, 5 or 12, will charge 18, right? Then government clarified with a circular. Right? Now understand the situation, friends. Principal is registered, job work is registered, right? Situation number 2, principal is not registered, job work is registered. So there are two scenarios to it. So in case principal is registered and job work is registered, activity other than those activity will be charged at 12%. So third para if you'll see, as per CGST Act, job work का definition is there that job work means any treatment or process belonging to another registered person, right? So as per circular, registered person is a clear distinction. It means if you are processing any goods, so job worker is processing any goods for a registered person. So job work charges will be 12%, right? Except bodybuilding and 3-5 other rates. If the registered person is not there, means job worker is registered and the person for whom the job worker is working, GST rate will be 18%. It will be treated as manufacturing service. We'll proceed. So same way like registration, I have already told you earlier. One is liable to register under section 22. Means the threshold is crossing 20 lakh rupees. So once your threshold is crossing 20 lakh rupees, compulsory registration under section 22 job worker has to take, right? Threshold 22 lakh does not mean the handling of material of 22 lakh rupees. So any supply made by principal or any supply returned by job worker to the principal after processing will not be computed for the purpose of this 20 lakh rupees. Only the job work service invoice which will raise for processing charges will be computed for the purpose of 20 lakh rupees. Second is voluntary registration. So he need not wait for 20 lakh rupees. They will say, no, I am dealing with big corporates. I have to get registered. So he can get registered voluntarily also. In case of job work for jewelry, goldsmith or silversmith, in this case compulsory job worker has to get registered irrespective of the turnover. So even if the turnover is 10 rupees and the job worker is handling jewelry, goldsmith or silversmith wares or other articles, then job worker has to register himself, right? Interstate transaction also is allowed in case the job worker is not registered. So there is a notification number 7/2017 integrated tax which provided this immunity from job worker to get registered in case of interstate service also, right? So if the service is interstate and does not belong to your jewelry, goldsmith and silversmith, then job worker need not register separately unless the turnover is more than 20 lakh rupees, right? Yeah, please.
Input tax credit is available.
Input tax credit.
Job
So job whatever job worker will charge on the invoice of his for processing, input tax credit will be availed by the principal.
okay.
Yeah. Now waste clearing process. So what will happen is during the job work process there will be waste or scrap generated, right? One is your job worker is registered, second is job worker is not registered. So if the job worker is registered, it will also depend on the contract that who will have the ownership of that waste or scrap, right? So the law says waste or scrap generated during job work can be supplied directly by registered job worker, right, or principal if the job worker is not registered. So the job worker is selling the waste or scrap, so then job worker will pay GST, means charge GST from the customer, right? It can also happen is the job worker will ask the principal to take the waste and scrap back. So on the delivery challan, the job worker will send the waste and scrap back to principal and then principal can sell it. Either principal can also sell it from the job worker premises without bringing the waste and scrap back, but in both the cases GST will be levied on waste and scrap, right? Again, I have already told you that this 1 year and 3 year criteria is not applicable to mold, dies, jigs and fixture or tools supplied by the principal to job worker, right? Now entire compliance is to be done by principal only. Job worker will only do a compliance of sending the material back on a delivery challan and raising a GST invoice, right, for service or processing. Now, principal has to file a form called GST ITC 04 form, right, quarterly. This form will be number 1, good dispatch to job worker, number 2, material received from job worker, number 3, from one job worker to another job worker, right. Due date is 25th day of the month succeeding the responsibility of keeping accounts of input and capital goods is with principal. Job worker is not responsible for any accounting, right. So it is principal who has to see whether they are supplying the material on proper document, whether the material are returned on proper document, whether job worker or whether the principal is filing GSTR, GST ITC 04 or not, right. So input, semi-finished or capital goods sent to the job worker shall be sent under a cover of challan. Principal will send under a cover of challan to the job worker. E-way bill can be generated either by principal or by registered job worker. Now 50,000 ka restriction is not there for e-way bill for job work, but there are certain states like West Bengal, they have exempted e-way bill requirement for job work irrespective of value. So the states can decide a higher threshold, right. So interstate job work, any value e-way bill is required. Intrastate job work 50,000 rupees, certain states have removed the restriction and they have said within the state if you are sending any material for job work, any value you can supply, right, without any e-way bill, but delivery challan is required, right. In case job worker is unregistered, principal has to generate a e-way bill for both sending and receiving if the value is more than 50,000 rupees, or if the job work is interstate. And if you'll see notification IGST number 6 was issued of 2017, which said that job worker can do a interstate transaction without getting registered, right. So for interstate job work, registration of job worker is not required. Now this is your delivery challan ka format. So you see here delivery challan, original, duplicate and triplicate, purpose, job work. You can write a purpose also, no issues. So see here consigner, consignee and description of goods. HSN code is required, UQC quantity, and see here taxable value and taxes separately shown. Why government is asking for separate taxes? Because 1 year deemed supply, government will decide that how much GST is to be payable, right, and then challan. So this is a standard challan which you can follow for job work purpose, right. In e-invoicing, this delivery challan is not covered under e-invoicing, so still you have to report. So now reporting of this transaction. So if you'll see table 13 of GSTR1, table 13 of GSTR1, this transaction will be reported under document series. Delivery challan series, this document will be reported: opening, closing, cancelled during the month and net issued. So these 4 things you have to give while filing GSTR 1 under table 13 delivery challan column. Requirement of e-way bill: if the principal is located in one state and job worker is located in another state, irrespective of your consignment value, e-way bill is required. E-way bill is required. Thank you for watching our video, and we hope that you enjoyed this learning series GST with Tax Marvel. And don't forget to share, like and subscribe our videos, and do also tell your friends or colleagues who want to make their career in GST or want to get updated on GST aspects. Thank you friends. Thank you.